The NBA is in a great space, and yesterday's games prove it in a very large way. I mean, if you watched the games yesterday from beginning to finish, there were some games that were a miss, but the ones that hit were amazing. The ones that were supposed to hit, that I'm going to speak about later, Kings, Warriors, was embarrassing. But the point is, the two that really hit yesterday, Celtics, Thunder, and Lakers, Rockets. Surprisingly, the Rockets are playing great this year. Why is that surprising? I don't know. I mean, I didn't think this group will work, but I guess the coach, Emir Udoka, got it going on, and it's amazing. But neither here or there, Celtics go up against the Thunder, and this was an amazing game. It lived up to the hype, and honestly, the Thunder games lately been so great and have been living up to the hype and have not been disappointing at all. I mean, they lived up to everything. When they went up against the Knicks the other day, the Thunder did great. They came back from a double-digit deficit, fought back, won the game. This time again, they played the Celtics, and they fought back, and they won the game. And look at this right here. I predicted that even though the Celtics were up in the first half, the Thunder were going to win the game. And why? Not because the Thunder were just so much better than the Celtics, or because the Celtics are no competition for the Thunder. In fact, I feel like the Thunder are worse than the Celtics in my opinion. I mean, matchup wise, I feel like the Celtics are way better than the Thunder if you do man to man and you look at, Tatum, Shai, Jaylen Brown to whoever is on the other side, and then Kristaps Porzingis, so on and so forth, right? The Celtics should have a better roster overall. But the Thunder had the Celtics exactly where they wanted them. Wherever you have the Celtics go into the paint and are depending on the paint more than their three-point shot, you have a great chance of winning. When you are running the Celtics off of the three-point line, when you are forcing the Celtics to have to make plays in the paint and have to score in the paint, even though they are up, they will not maintain the lead. And yesterday was another example of that with the Thunder. I mean, in the first half, Celtics were up by 13 points. The half ended, I think the Celtics were up by 10, and that's because I think it was Shai hit a 3. So, therefore, it's so predictable how the Celtics are going to win and lose. If they make 20 or more threes and you're not really locking in defensively and running them off the court, then it's going to be a loss for you. But if you are forcing the Celtics to make plays in the paint, then you have a really high chance of winning. And that's what the Thunder did yesterday. And I knew the Celtics were not going to keep up their dominant plays in the paint. It just was not going to happen in the second half. And I knew that the Thunder were going to turn up in the second half. And not only were they going to turn up offensively, but they were also going to turn up defensively on the Celtics. And that's exactly what happened. If you watched this game, you knew it wasn't a clean game. I mean, it was kind of like a grinded out game, was a nasty game, I don't want to say dirty game. Nobody really made dirty plays, but it was like a game that was grinded out. I mean, the Celtics were held to 90 points. The Thunder didn't really put up that much more points than them. It wasn't like a crazy blowout. I know it's a 15-point difference, but they put up 105. So the Celtics defense was there, but their offense was really affected by the Thunder's defense. And in the second half was when the Thunder really turned up. I mean, they came out here, third quarter, Shai starts off the quarter on fire, which is what the Thunder needed. And the thing I love about the Thunder, and I'm always say this, they play as a team. You don't always need Shai to put up 40 points, but the times when he does give you 30 points, 29, 40 points, the buckets are so important, and he knows exactly when to score. It's not like, for example, Devin Booker. There are times where this team is so far gone and they're down and now he starts scoring. Too late. No, Shai is not going to be like that. Shai is going to score when the team needs him the most, and he's going to make sure he gets to the basket. He's going to use his strength. He's going to score in so many different ways to the point where it's kind of unguardable. And he's efficient, and it's so potent. It's so electrifying as well. It brings the team back. It brings the energy back. And then everybody else starts scoring. I mean, you see Lu Dort hit a couple of threes. He hit a clutch bucket. I mean, all of his buckets, honestly, were clutch in the second half. They needed every single one of those. and he got hot at the right time. The Thunder needed him. A couple of other guys got hot. They started hitting their shots. Defensively, they started forcing turnovers. Even Shai had a block, I think it was on Tatum. That was crazy. I mean, the Thunder really came out here in the second half, turned up defensively, turned up offensively, and they threw the Celtics off rhythm. And even though the Celtics did knock down some threes or whatever, it just wasn't the same, and it was never going to be the same, because once they get thrown off in the first half, the Celtics have a really hard time staying afloat. Even though they can keep going to the paint, they can keep dominating, they can keep driving and passing, they can do these things, but for some reason it just doesn't work, or it's like they choose not to, or something just doesn't work for them. And that's the issue for the Celtics. I mean, look at their whole scoring, look at their stats. Jason Tatum, 26 points, I think 11 rebounds. Jaylen Brown, 21. Kristaps, 19. Derek White, 11. They were not doing bad. It's just that the Celtics didn't do as good as the Thunder. And the Thunder just did just enough to fight back and win. Mind you, in the first half, a lot of these calls went against the Thunder. The Thunder didn't have so many calls. A lot of these calls went the Celtics' way. I mean, the Celtics shot so many free throws. I believe the free throw difference in the first half alone was huge. And the Celtics still couldn't pull out a way. The Thunder found a way to win. They weathered the storm. And then on top of that, Lou Dort, I think it was Lou Dort, he got called for a technical. And the Thunder kept their composure. They kept playing and they won the game. I think it's like a 15-game win streak right now. The Celtics really need to find a way to win even when they're not making their threes. Some nights, you're not going to make your threes. And this team is so good that I feel like, when it comes to playoff time, when you're like in game 70 and you're competing for seeding in the regular season, this might not matter as much. I mean, they'll start knocking down their threes. They're going to look unguardable. But for teams like the Thunder, there are top 10 offense and defense, just like the Celtics. They can run you off a three and throw you off balance. And you're going to have to figure out a way to score in the paint. And not just for the first half, second half as well. You're going to have to figure out a way to now go back to simple basketball and play inside out. And once they do that, and they figure out a way to win with that as well, then they will be great no matter what happens and who is guarding them. Then we had the Lakers go up against the Rockets, and this game was amazing. I mean, at first I was going to get mad at the Lakers and be like, how did they lose this game? Every time I speak so great and so highly of the Lakers, they found a way to come back and lose and look embarrassing and just do bad. But then I was like, you know what? The Rockets did play great. They played amazing. And they outdid the Lakers. I mean, first quarter alone, Jalen Green had 18 points. Amen Thompson started off the game hot, and he was exactly what the Rockets needed. The Lakers were kind of slow into like getting into rhythm and clicking as an entire unit. They didn't really get clicking until like the third quarter, but it was too late. The first quarter was kind of like the story of the game. They went on a 21-5 run, and by they I mean the Rockets, to close out the first quarter, and that hurt the Lakers. Then we get to the second quarter, and in the second quarter, I mean, the Rockets just ballooned the lead. They built upon it, and the energy was with the Rockets the whole first half. I mean, like I said, the Lakers took a while to get clicking as an entire unit, and the Rockets took advantage of that. I mean, they performed offensively, defensively. They went like berserk, honestly. Like, this team came together at the right time. Then in the third quarter, it got like a little spooky. The Lakers fall back, and even though Austin Reeves had 12 points in the first half, like I stated before, nobody else really had it going until like the second half, which is, like I said, third quarter. LeBron, Anthony Davis got it going around the same time. Now, usually when these two get it going around the same time and they're getting hot around the same time, it's kind of over for the opposite team. Not this time. AD hit a couple of shots here in the third quarter. LeBron James hit a couple of shots here in the third quarter. I believe he had 14 points in the third quarter. I mean, he looked unstoppable. A couple of threes, and you would have thought this game was over. You would have thought the Lakers are going to pull this 22-point comeback and win. There was a couple of times where they cut it down to 11. Then fourth quarter comes, and Jalen Green fouls out. Well, he didn't foul out. He had 5 fouls. Technically fouled out. But he didn't play for most of the fourth quarter. He didn't even start the fourth quarter. Everybody else played, brought the energy. Steven Adams went crazy in this game. He had a dunk that was like reminiscing of old Steven Adams. I was like, damn, he still has that. It was around the first half, I think it was. But point is, he played amazing defensively, offensively. Lakers really tried to fight back in the fourth quarter. They cut it down to like a 1-2 possession game. Then they played the free throw game, and the Rockets made their free throws. Even though they missed at the end, it was like 1 of 2, and then again 1 of 2, and then Lakers tried to run a play that the Warriors ran and done on the Christmas Day for Steph Curry. Unfortunately, AD, instead of setting the screen, kind of ran through Holiday, and it was a foul, and they gave the ball back to the Rockets. A couple of turnovers. They didn't really execute down the stretch when they really needed it the most, and they could have still pulled this comeback with the fact that they didn't play as well the first half, with the fact that they didn't kind of click all together and come all together until like the third quarter. They could have still pulled this off. The new additions have been good for the Lakers, and the Lakers just look great. They just need to find a way to play all 48 minutes of the game, not just third quarter, fourth quarter, not just first and second quarter. They got to find a way to pull these comebacks and win the game. Then we had the Warriors go up against the Rockets. Embarrassing. This shit was embarrassing. I wish I didn't watch this shit. Now, yesterday I said, if the Warriors play through their young guys and then get Steph Curry open and give him a couple of shots, and then he gets hot, and young guys are already hot, no matter who the defense guards now, it doesn't matter because everybody's hot, everybody's going to hit their shots. Well, I didn't mean what happened yesterday. I didn't mean come out and just go with 3-point crazy in the first quarter like you're the Boston Celtics. I meant play a good brand of basketball. Don't forget that there's a paint. Don't forget that you have to lay up the ball. Don't forget that you could get to the basket. And the Kings just took advantage of that and got their offense going. They found a rhythm. And then after the first quarter, they just never looked back. And this game was also over in the first quarter. The Lakers and Rockets game at least still had a chance at the end of the game, and they kept it close and they came back. The Warriors didn't even come back. And the most embarrassing thing about it, De'Aaron Fox wasn't playing. And DeMar DeRozan only had like 12 points. Malik Monk had 26 points and 12 assists. Sabonis had a great stat line as well. This team played amazing. They got stops. They outplayed the Warriors. They put the Warriors on their heels, and the Warriors just couldn't find a way to come back. Now, here's another thing that hurt the Warriors. They didn't have Jonathan Kuminga. Without Jonathan Kuminga, the Warriors are not that great, considering the fact that they didn't really start developing themselves until the last 5 games or so, where Jonathan Kuminga started going insane, playing out of his mind, going to the basket, hitting threes, doing everything that the Warriors need from him. And then he goes down. It was like some foot injury, I think it was, or ankle injury. And now the Warriors are struggling. They're going to have to find a way. And coming out just thinking you're going to bomb threes in the first quarter is not going to work. You're going to have to get to the basket. I'm sorry to tell you. I know you have Steph Curry. I know you have people that can shoot and take the three. But you are not Klay Thompson. You are not going to be another shooting, 3-point shooting twin. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. This isn't the splash triplets, splash bros, splash quadruplets. You're going to have to get to the basket, get yourself a rhythm, and then start hitting your threes. You can't come out here just bombing threes from the beginning of the first quarter. That's not how the game works. I'm sorry to tell you. Especially not with this Sacramento Kings team that plays really fast and can score really fast. They waste no time on the clock at all, especially on a game like yesterday. And it's probably nothing that hurt them as well. De'Aaron Fox didn't play, and they were probably prepared to guard De'Aaron Fox. And because he didn't play, they didn't know what the hell was going to happen. They didn't know what to expect. That can be an excuse, but no excuses are allowed. Not for this type of team that says they're competing for a championship. And hopefully next game they do better. I mean, they went on a 2-3 game streak where they played decent. Even though they lost to the Cavs, they still played decent, and they did lose to the best team in the league, so it's fine. But yesterday was not a great presentation or a great thing to have for them, especially when you're trying to find the rhythm and momentum. But anyways, yeah, thank you so much for coming out to the locker room. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. This is Real Talk with E. Safety.